what helped me was how to structure my answers, especially in terms of my profile, because I think before the ISBmantra mock interviews, I think I gave the right kind of answers, but then they were just not structured properly. I was just rambling on those uh, answers. So I think just to keep it precise when required and then to elaborate also when required, I would say that you need to have some kind, at least be able to talk about some kind of uh, experience where you have taken an initiative or managed something in your company to talk about as an achievement in professionally, not just out of your professional environment.
Right.
So and you have to be able to talk about how it's going, not just how it's going to work. The courses are going to help you professionally later on, but currently also, because you are doing the
Right.
job.
Exactly. Very valid point. Yes. Disha, welcome to this interaction, and we thank you very much for doing this, interaction with us. As discussed, we do these interactions primarily to, show it to students with similar backgrounds who are looking for,
Right.
a modular MBA program. That
Yeah.
how was one's journey, from applying to getting the offer letter. Okay. Congratulations again, Disha, for making it to the PGP Pro. It is becoming tougher and tougher to get into PGP Pro, and getting an admit from there, it's indeed a great achievement. So congratulations for that. Yeah, looking at your profile, having done your master's in data science, and you have a total experience of around 6 years as a senior
Yeah.
software developer. Please tell us, about your profile and what you think worked in your favor today when you look back.
So I think primarily, uh, more than the masters, I would say the kind of experience I was exposed to post
Mhm.
graduation, because I worked with a startup. So, and
Right.
that was, I was one of the first employees. So I got access to, building the system from scratch. And the lines when you work with a startup, your responsibilities, they are more blurred. You're
Correct.
not, only into a tech role, but then you're asked to do few other things in the product side, and design some feature, or any of those things. So I think that is what worked for me more than anything, because I had a lot to talk about in my interview also, then in those terms.
Mm.
And then based on that, what am I doing currently, and how is the course going to help me currently, from the
Right.
management perspective.
So, there is a saying, Disha, when you get an opportunity to get into a rocket, you should not ask which seat will I get. So that is
Yeah.
that is the kind of experience you get when you work in a startup. So I can
Yeah.
totally relate to what you are saying, and
Yeah.
because the discussion was also around that. That probably gave them of an impression that you have achieved perhaps more than what you could have achieved otherwise.
Right.
Right. Great. And did you consider, any other program when you decided to pursue a degree in business? And why did you choose ISB's PGP Pro over the other courses which you would have looked at?
So I was looking at all my options, and I decided to pursue it finally around May. And when I was looking at all the options, I saw PGP Pro as one of the top uh, contenders for that. And for the others, I think there is some of the other exam which is required. And for I had not given any exam for any of those
Mm.
uh, schools. So I thought that if PGP Pro does not need any exam, I might as well apply to that initially and see. If I do get in, then well and good. If not, then I'm gonna give the exams and then apply to maybe the other, like the IIMs or any other option.
Right.
Like,
And another
enjoying it.
advantage also is that, there's a huge opportunity cost when you get into a full-time program, leaving a job, going there, losing a salary. So all
Yeah,
that worries, is taken care when you get into such a modular,
yeah,
program. That too coming
correct.
from a school like ISB.
Yeah, correct,
Okay.
correct.
So given your core engineering and data science education background, what were your key focus areas in terms of your approach to building your application?
So, of course, because my expertise is in engineering and software development, I was already comfortable with, the main job that I was supposed to do, that is to build the system. But I think what was more challenging was I had never worked with the healthcare domain, which is in followed in the US.
Mhm.
They have a lot of rules and guidelines which are followed over there. So I think just gaining that knowledge uh, and then implementing that correctly, that was kind of a challenge and my focus as well.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. And then, of course, if you're working in tech, then you get the opportunity to work on different kinds of technologies. And then, since the small scale business, you are also allowed to explore different options. And they kind of considered that, okay, you can work with this tech and see if this works well for
Mhm.
the system and all of that. So, combination of everything.
Okay. So, combination of all this is what was your focus area when you were building your application?
So, you mean like, um,
So when you started filling your application and when you started writing the essays, what was the focus area? I mean, what did you talk about your professional journey or your achievements in
yeah,
the
so
application?
exactly. So my key focus within the while I was writing my application essay was how I started off with building a system and purely using my technical skills and whatever domain knowledge I had gained. And then following that, what happened was I was allowed to, sit on in some of the client meetings and how they used to demo the product and talk about it and kind of market it, or even kind of understand what the client requirements were. So I was pulled into multiple things uh, during that process. Um, so that is something I spoke about and how it kind of developed my interest as well. Uh, then moving on, of course, when we try to expand uh, the company, since I already had most of the knowledge of the system, there were more people who came in, and at a time when most people are not really going to lead a team, I was allowed to lead a team, uh, and I was able to manage people as well. So that is something that I focused on, and yeah.
Great. And how was your experience interviewing with ISB? And what were the key areas of discussion during your interview?
I think so. The interview is like very interactive,
Mhm.
no
How
pressure.
many members were there in the panel?
Three of them. So
Okay.
one of them was just observing. I was mainly talking to the other two.
Okay,
Uh,
all right. And do you recollect their background? I mean, were they staff of ISB or professors of ISB
no,
or
no,
an
they were
alum
alums.
of alums?
All three were alums. Yeah.
Okay, and PGP Pro alums or PGP
Yeah.
alums?
PGPpro. I think they were from 19 or something,
Oh,
2019.
great, great. So important point here is that the panel members were essentially alums and PGP Pro alums,
Yeah,
to be
PGPpro
precise.
alums.
Great.
Yeah. So, from the interview, as I remember, three things stood out the most. One
Mhm.
is they need to know that you have gone through the curriculum very well and
Mhm.
like the exact courses maybe let's say there are like 20 courses. You don't have to know every course and like what does it offer, but you need to be able to point out at least 3 4 courses which are going to help you currently, and a few which may help you after the program gets done, or anytime in the future. How is it going to help you? So that is one thing. Second thing is that they were quite interactive. So you cannot give textbook answers, which you may have thought of. I think they try to seek some kind of originality in what you're saying and your experience also. Like for instance, um, I spoke about like a year ago we had layoffs in our team, and so I was talking about them and how I was not the one to make the final decision, but then I worked with my manager to kind of decide on who were going to make it and who had to be let go. So and how I was dealing with those people as well. So that is what we were talking about in the interview as well. And then they started asking me questions on the layoff, that how did I deal with those people and what basis did I decide, and all of those things. So kind of related to managing the teams.
Right, right. And were there any general knowledge questions and stuff?
No,
No, right?
because
So, yeah.
and mainly because I think that it also depends on the background of the panel, right?
Hmm,
And
hmm, hmm.
one of them was a lawyer, and the other one was I think, more towards the financial side. So none
Okay,
of them were, from my kind of background.
okay.
Maybe if they were from my background, they would have asked me more questions on that.
Hmm. But see, the point here, the important point you have made here is that most of the questions were on your profile about your professional work and journey till now, right?
Yeah,
Right.
right.
Right. And I remember we doing your mock interviews. You went through different sessions with us with different counselors.
Yeah.
So how did all this help you to build an approach, through these sessions for your actual interview?
I think definitely I got more confidence because I had no idea on, how these interviews are going to be,
Mm,
um, and what kind of questions would come my way. But that was one. Secondly, what helped me was how to structure my answers, especially in terms of my profile, because I think before the ISBmantra mock interviews, I think I gave the right kind of answers, but then they were just not structured properly. I was
mm.
just rambling on
Right.
those uh, answers. So I think just to keep it precise when required, and then to elaborate also
Right.
when required. So those kinds
Right.
of things
So
helped.
all these discussions essentially helped you build a crisp and a structured answer,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah,
that kind of helped you during the interview.
yeah,
And most of the
yeah.
discussion which happened during the all these mock sessions also where most of those areas is what you have observed in your interview as
Yeah, correct.
well, right? And how are you spending your time, between the admit decision and before you joining the program? Did they ask you to do some programs, or are you doing some programs? Is there any preparation you want to, or you're required to make before your classes start?
Yeah, so my program started in Jan itself. So right now I am in the middle of the
Ah,
program.
right. Great. Yes. So
So
why don't you tell us about your experience, as you have already started. So is it what you were expecting, or give us some inputs on that?
yeah. So I have like 6 months in between.
Mhm.
I got the response and me joining the program. So 2 months prior to that, we were given 2 courses to start off with. They're called pre-terms.
Mhm.
So people who don't have a background in, let's say, accounts or statistics and all, we get to catch up. and then basis that we have the other courses for the terms.
Mm.
So I think after a long time, I got to go and live on a campus. So that was a great experience. So we had the 1 week of Hyderabad campus immersion uh,
Right.
January. So that was great. Like we were attending classes the whole day and then working on assignments post that. So it was quite hectic, but it was a great experience. And even the professors are really good. Um, it's very interactive, very open to discussions, each of the classes, and a lot of learning till now. Like
Mm.
information overload right now.
And I hope there's a diverse peer group from whom you are
Yeah,
also
yeah,
getting to learn a lot of new things.
yeah.
Right?
Especially, I think uh, since we're from Mumbai, there are a few people from tech. There are like a few people from the finance background, marketing. It's a whole lot of mixture as
Mm.
compared to what we saw in the Bangalore cohort. A lot of them are specifically from the tech
Tech
uh,
background.
background.
So
Yeah,
that is the product of the city.
yeah, city, correct.
That yes,
But irrespective, like everyone has very good experience in different areas.
nice. That is nice. Disha, before we wrap this up, what is your advice to the prospective future PGP Pro applicants, especially people who are coming with technology background like yours?
So, I would say that you need to have at least be able to talk about some kind of uh, experience where you have taken an initiative or managed something in your company to
Hmm.
talk about as an achievement in professionally, not just out of your professional environment.
Right.
So, uh, it and you have to be able to talk about how it's going, not just how it's going to work. The courses are going to help you professionally later on, but currently also because you are doing the
Right.
job.
Exactly. Very valid
The
point. Yes.
you have to be able to explain that to them. Yeah, I think those two, and just have no pressure and be very interactive and free with the like any other
Hmm.
professional. So
Right.
yeah, I think those are the only few points.
Uh, Disha, thank you so much for doing this with us. And we wish you all the best with your program. And for any other help, if you ever need, feel free to reach out to us. We'll be more than glad to give you any kind of assistance which we can do.
Yeah, yeah, sure. I will.
Thank you so much.